What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, club swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys are feeling good. Hope you guys are feeling like the rest of the market, just at all-time highs, just crushing markets. But we got Ahmed in the house. Good morning to you. I'm not sure how to say the next. Is it Adjoa? I'm not sure how you say that. Ahoy, ahoy, like ahoy, man. I don't know. I don't know. Good morning, welcome, welcome. Let me know in the if you want to respell your name, so me being a big dummy could also say it. That would be awesome. We got Albert. Good morning to you. Good morning to Amy, Bill, Brad. We got Brad in the house. Good morning to Brian. Chris is in the house. Good morning to DK, Emily, Frank, Greg, Jay, Jeffrey, Justin, Keith, Kevin. Lauren, Malik, good morning to you. We got Marius, Martina, good morning to Michael, Rob, Shane, Tim, Wendy. You guys are piling in. BEA, beautiful. How about people out on YouTube land? We got Leonard. We got DAHC Currency. Y'all crazy with your names. We got Real Virtual Demand. Good morning to you. William, the Cheryl. It's not just Cheryl, it's the Cheryl. Good morning to Richard Jettle. My lurkers in the background. It's okay. I still love you. Hit that like and subscribe buttons, but whew, market. Market is feeling pretty good. Closing at all-time highs. We had some huge resistance on the SPY, somewhere around 607.77. We did close higher than that, and we also threw yesterday's VPOC right back at that level. So old resistance should be new support if we get some selling, which the market's not jumping again. We're not doing some kind of crazy gap up. That's a retest. It's kind of confusing. So inside day would make a lot of sense. We get some pullback. See if we want to pull back. See if we could hold the 607.91. I don't know. Did we do that pre-market? I'm not sure. Definitely not after hours. No, we didn't even get close yet. So I'm going to use that one as my support. And we'll see if we get any type of pullback whatsoever. Some profit taking into new all-time highs would make some sense, unless you are a stock market trader. Then then you just buy everything possible and you don't look back. Pretty wild, but I'd be waiting to see if this pullback comes in. See if we get a little bit of a pullback, little bit of profit taking into these levels. There's obviously no other resistance except higher above us. So keep that in mind. No more targets. We're going to take any targets off the list. It's just going to be higher from now on. Q is a little bit different situation. We've got not all-time highs yet. That would take us into, at least the VPOC would be 538.78. Not sure that we could get there today. Anything is possible. If you believe it, you could achieve it. We got Q's. Next real resistance would take us up to 535.79. And the big resistance, at least at open, which we are slightly above, is 532.11. So I'm not really expecting a big pullback. I think we got a bigger shot of the Q's pulling back. If we want to break down this for today, then look for 530.99. Maybe we could hold that, and then it becomes probably a little bit more choppy of a day until the very end when the bulls seem to be awake and live and active in the markets in that case. But we will see. TLT, not too much different from the close from yesterday, so we are down 3 cents. I think that's a sigh of relief for the bond people because usually they wake up, they're down 75 cents. So this is a good one. This is a good one. We are still hanging into. We opened at maybe slightly below 86.68. We managed to stay above that yesterday, acting a little bit more as a retest with that support in there. Didn't even quite get up to this 87.11, but that would be my next spot. We are opening below yesterday's VPOC, so probably a little bit of chop on TLT until you can start climbing back above 86.82 and 86.72. Honestly, if TLT is not dropping, if it's just trading sideways at this point, I think the market is going to be loving that one. We'll see. We got Twilio, TWLO. Uh, yeah, there you go. I was like, wait, where's that price? Where are we sitting? Yeah, that makes sense. Was this earnings or they had a conference? I think it was. Let's see. Yeah, it was not earnings. I don't know what Trading View's big deal is, but they're not even going to give me the news. But I think they had a conference they were at, if I'm not mistaken, that they were speaking at, and I'm not sure what the news was, but definitely big gap. I don't know how many people are trapped on this one. If you were buying this one, I mean, well, essentially anywhere from April 25th of 2022, you finally got your count, your position to the green. If you were seeing some just sideways long-term chop, you were buying it throughout here. This is a really good gap for you. Plus, you've been already up now. So I don't think you're really trapping as many shorts. I think there is some bag holders from this huge downtrend. So be careful on this one, I think. Let's see if it's got a little bit more room to run. The fact we're getting above this pivot, pretty phenomenal. Anywhere above 132. Looks good. Yeah, this is a nice gap. I don't think I don't think we're trapping that many bears, in all honesty. Uh, but really good gap. This one might have some more room on it. I hate buying things when it's already been gapping $22. But let's get this one higher on the list. We'll see if it go higher. I don't know if I really want to play a fade on this one. This one might be a small pullback at open, and I think maybe actually get bought up. They had a 2 billion stock buyback. Yeah, that kind of helps. That's a good deal. That's a good deal for Twilio. If the valuation can go up higher, we just buy it back. That helps stockholders. SERV. There we go. There we go. Serve robotics. I'm not sure exactly how much AI is involved in this thing, but serve robotics. Decent trends. Obviously, there was a whole bunch of nothing. This is probably during the warrant stages, though. We're not even around $10. That was all probably pre-IPO. IPO got a nice bounce. We did pull back. Usually, stocks though on IPO at some point they will drop below it. I think there's a huge percentage of stocks that do that. This one has never dropped really below that IPO price, so this would have been a winner without any panic if you were in this thing pre-IPO. Other than that, you're still healthy above most moving averages, all moving averages at this point, and you're kind of just chopping around. Good uptrend to it. I don't really see you gapping about a penny today, so nothing too crazy for today. As a day trade, at least, probably better opportunities out there. I think $18.18 is going to be a decent resistance, unless they have some kind of news I don't know about. But right now, it's not really reacting to it if it was out there. Stretch targets, maybe get to like 1922. Otherwise, a little bit of bearish engulfing candle. You did have high volume from up here. All of those bulls who took that breakout still currently trapped, and this would have been your retest into it. So, cautious. I'd be very cautious on it. It is up a lot from the IPO. I'm not saying it doesn't go lower. If it's a company you want to invest in, I don't know anything about this company, so you'd have to do some research, see if they're probably not making money yet, I would imagine. Yep, not really making money yet, but if there's a path to profitability, that's what you want to see as a investor. You want to make sure that their cash keeps increasing and kind of what their future of the company is for long term. Otherwise, I think I'd be patient, see if we get a bigger pullback longer term, something like that, when some of the robotic news wants to calm down a little bit. SOUN. This one looks pretty fantastic. Ooh, going pretty high on the list on this one. You have breakout day, resting candle, attempted breakout, failed inside resting candle. We've already now hit this resistance. The first one, 1707 today, a little bit more likely that we could break it. I don't really have another VPOC up until I think my target would be roughly about $18.47. Maybe after that you get to 1872. I got final targets. I want to say final, but at least in this set for the pattern, I think you get back up to this $19.80, 86 cent mark. Yeah, I think this one probably continues. You are above yesterday's VPOC, the day before. You're starting a nice little uptrend on it. I would be looking for continuation. High wave candle would be fantastic. retest into 1650 if you could get it. It's only 9 cents away. I like that one a lot. I think it's got some room on it. I think it's got some room. ARM, ARM, ARM. AMD has a little pop, let saying. We got ARM is chilling for now. Sentiment obviously on this day, crazy, crazy bullish. Makes sense that we do have some kind of rest day after we hit pretty decent extended everywhere targets right up in this zone. So a little bit of a pullback, profit taking, absolute makes sense. I don't know that this one's gonna have momentum today. I don't know if we really start getting going with this one. I think the best spot to try if you pull down to like 165.58. I think that gets you best risk to reward, probably somewhere stop under your 162.56 under yesterday's candle. Swing trade wise, if you're still trying to play this gap, I think maybe you stop somewhere around 159.70. But for right now, I think it's just kind of going to chop today. I don't see too much. You do have big targets back up to like 178.69. But the question is, do we start really breaking out yet? Do we have enough time built in to start pushing again? That I'm not sure of. We'll get this one kind of high because it does have a lot of room to the targets. I think we can get good risk reward on it. Just a matter of what we're actually going to do with it. But I want that thing to drop a little bit more. Apple is running pre-market. Yep. I do have some somebody in my mentor group. Why I got some calls yesterday and I picked them up when the price was sitting right around, I think it was like 222.55 ish. Somebody tell me why I did that. Somebody from the master group, let me know what is a interesting spot on Apple, why I would do that. There you go. Peter's got it. I bought some calls right around two. I think the price was like 222.55, I think it was. Yep. So sentiment yesterday, let's go back to the last 2 days. So you got a hammer candle, interesting, right at 200, good buying spot, wide open gap all the way up to these top ranges. Bulls came in once we dipped below it. You got a bullish, almost engulfing candle, not quite, but big bullish candle. Then you gap up. It's a retest gap. You've already made one run, but where was the spot? We talked about this even yesterday, and it ran first. So if you were quick, you could have played a bullish and then probably played the reverse too if you wanted to. But I was like, hey, if this thing gets back to 222.60, somewhere in that zone, which was we were talking about this pre-market. That's where I think the better buy spot is. I think the sentiment is still kind of shifting a little bit more to the bull side, and I don't know if it's bullish, but this thing has been down a lot in a good bounce spot. So I think at least temporarily bullish. Any bears in here, I think starting to take some gains. For day trade today, I think you still have some room, probably up to 229. Yeah, about 229 on this one. Maybe you could stretch it out to like 230. But looks good. I think maybe a little pullback. Let's see. Do I mean, I have contracts, so I don't really want to pull back. Let's see if I could just talk myself out of that pullback. If you do start getting some selling right now, you do have some support, somewhere around 225.94. If that starts to break, if you guys want to try to hop in, maybe you'd start looking, or if we're going to try to day trade this one, let's see if we can start getting into, I don't know, this 220 224.85 zone. If we could pull back into that, see if that wants to hold. So inside day, probably pull back before we start to run, and I think probably later in the day maybe that happens. So interesting. Wendy says, "Oh, I did the same earnings next week too." Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to hold through earnings. Depends if they run. I might be out today. Who knows? I've got some weak hands for sure. But yeah, my plan wasn't really to hold it through earnings, but if these things are going to run and I could maybe sell a couple of them and keep one for free, I might do that. If I can get a free play into earnings on Apple, that might be fun. Nvidia, but even for earnings, it does meet the qualification of obviously good stock pulling back into earnings. The problem with them is their growth story. They're just so massive, it's hard to grow. We got saved on a prior one, I think it was like 2 quarters ago, where like they did a $8 billion buyback or something crazy, and the stock started running from there. But Nvidia looks interesting. You have some room on this one. Which will take us to 151.18. It's a retest gap, so I don't love that, but I don't think we come in for this full retest on Nvidia. I don't. The real retest spot would be 146.95. I think we maybe look for some kind of support around 148.08 or potentially 147.89. I think that's probably the best we get on a retest. If the bulls are really going to be strong today, that's where I'd want to see them settle down at. But really good open if we open here as well. So we got 13 more minutes. If we're opening anywhere above 148.17, I think this one might be again decent high wave candle. You got some room to run it. Probably about $3 more to the high side before you run into that resistance, and then we got to go from there, see if we can break through it. But a little bit, I think Sound has a little bit more room on it. But Nvidia does look good too. Meta, yeah, Meta was gapping to all-time highs. Sanjay wanted Meta as well. Oh, it was gapping to all-time highs. And now we just got a little bit of a dipperooski. It looked a heck of a lot better before I started the show. Before we hopped on. But yeah, Meta pulling back. I'm not sure if news just came out. That is a deep dive. That is a deep that is a fall from an airplane without the parachute. I don't know if I have the news yet. 2 minutes ago, yep. And the news didn't load. Thank you, TradingView. I would like my subscription money back. Somebody else, let me know if they have news on them. Obviously they do. Oh, there we go. Kevin's got it. Meta is building a 2 GW plus data center. I've always said they needed one of those. That is so large it would cover a significant part of Manhattan. And it's going to be in New York? Or no? I can't imagine it's in New York. That's crazy. So, uh, probably good news long term for Meta, I would assume. Short term, that does sound probably. I don't know what a 2 GW plus goes for nowadays, but that sounds expensive. Yeah, when you get that plus sign in there, no. Minus sign, maybe we let that slide, but yeah, probably a little expensive on that one. So that's my guess. Longer term again, probably sets them up, definitely sets them apart from anywhere else. Texas Instruments did report yesterday. They did beat on earnings. They did beat on guidance. I mean, on earnings per share and revenue. But their guidance was a little bit shaky, so they lowered guidance, and you can't do that. You just cannot lower guidance. Lie to us. Tell us it's all going to be good. But yeah, gap and go on this one. I don't think this one moves too much. I wouldn't like to really play the fade on this one. Probably the short. If this one comes up to like, I don't know, almost to that 200, plus you got some VPOCs there. So if this thing gets a bounce 192.46, I'm going to take a stab at the short side of it. That's probably how I'd be leaning for today. But again, it is down $9 for Texas Instrument. Doesn't move that much, and you do have some decent support. If we didn't have as much support that we're kind of gapping into, I'd be a lot more for the short on this one. But again, guidance lowered. Not what you want to hear. They got chips and everything too. These guys are all over the place. They're massive. So we'll see how that sets us up for next week when we got every big dog reporting. But Google gapping down slightly, nothing too crazy. We already did come in. We've already retested not only this support, 198.82, but we got down to 197.85, and also this one. So pretty interesting candle, high wave candle. I would try to avoid the just chop around on this one. I would probably actually look for more some kind of continuation swing trade on this. So entries up here, I would throw stops right underneath this candle. Wouldn't want to see this thing get taken out. Something like this is how I would play it. Again, it's going to be too wide for a day trade, but otherwise, I think in the zone you have resistance right above you. You have support that we've hit a few times, broke through some decent ones already. But if this thing wants to go bullish, I would look for like 202.22, or I wouldn't touch this one. I think I'd get chopped around. In your Doc Brown voice, the hell is GW? Yeah, you know what? All my impressions sound exactly the same. Every single one of them. I might be horrible. I see these people, they'll do like a good Trump, they'll do like there's a one girl on Instagram, she does like a good Kamala, and I just sound like Borat. So I don't know. I sound all the same, no matter who I'm doing. Sounds the same. Nike, good couple days. You got earnings a little bit far out, so earnings aren't until March 20th. Really good longer term support. Great balance. Maybe ran a little bit too much. I do want to add this thing to my long term, but my next deposit for how I just run the system only comes in next week. I've been looking at this one. I've been looking at Hershey. I've actually been looking at a little bit more Baba. Some of these things are starting to move. Hershey's still down. Hershey might have a little bit more ways to go, but Hershey's price I think is pretty cheap for a big massive company that owns not just chocolate, but they own a bunch of stuff. Uh, you might see some continuation, but again, and it's a good location this thing is open at. I do like that. A target on this one, I think you could probably get up to 75.16. Stretch target 75.71. Maybe you're looking for a high wave candle. The only problem hopping in this thing bullish is now you do have three strong days in a row on something that is in a bigger downtrend. So I'd almost want to see one more pullback, retest this probably 72.81 zone, and then you kind of lift off from there. So mini double bottom higher lows. Because recently we did just put in this lower high. For a day trade though, it could work. You have some bulls already kind of profitable. That's my only problem with even a high wave candle on this one. But right now, I do think it looks like it's got some momentum. Some of the Chinese name stocks I've been looking at today look pretty fantastic. I'm in this one. Yates set up a swing trade, so I'm in with him on this one. I forgot where we got in, 85 and 50 something. But this one looks good, and then my other accounts they got for the I'm holding Baba for the long term, so I'm pretty maxed out on where I could actually take a new position unless I'm going to go options with it. Uh, I'm also considering that I was going to do poor man cover call on, but it didn't happen. Either way, really good gap on this one. The next resistance, 87.16. I think that looks good. I did look at Baidu. I didn't like it as much, but Baidu kind of setting up very similar to this one. Hasn't really popped as much, I would say, as Baba, but you got one little spot to get through. Again, resistance comes in 84.43. Maybe if you start breaking out, you got like 85.65. So not a lot of range on some of these. The one that does have a little bit PDD. This is the one I was looking for. Again, I don't know how we open on this one. It is a retest gap, but I think if we start breaking out of this 105.70 zone, 105.63, you will have this candle you got to deal with 108.04, but ultimately I think you have room all the way up to like 111. So out of the three big Chinese companies, Baba, I would say would be number one if you're not in it. Otherwise, PDD for some kind of trade I'd be looking for. But again, maybe a little retest chop. Um, we should hear from Bank of Japan any day now about rates if it hasn't come out yet. So I think that's going to be your big catalyst going forward. And then obviously there's a lot of people scared with tariffs and what that's going to do and U.S. relationship with China. I think it will be fine. I think we're going to make it. Lunar. So this one's gapping up. This one is and has been running. So very few people. Only if you top tick this one 2 days ago, are you down on this position? But I would expect a little bit of a retest. If you're trying to buy this thing, you're trying to at least or day trade it. You're trying to get in 22.63 with one more little support, tiny one, 22.45 with the strength on it. I'd want to see that hold. Otherwise, if it breaks, I probably wouldn't take the trade. But you got 21.95. You're looking to look to play. All right, let's see. Nvidia, yep, you guys are saying, and we did take a look at Nvidia already. So Lunar, JD. Oh yeah, JD is the other one. I didn't actually check that one out. I forgot about that one. JD actually does look good too. Yep, you got a little bit of resistance up in here, somewhere into like the $40.18 move. A lot of this stuff is moving kind of pre-market a little bit. Bigger targets on this one. I don't think this happens today, but 41.77. And then you got $40.91. So, but the HSI was up yesterday. The other way, if you guys want to play it too, if you don't want to have, if China does do something like the Chinese stocks do something fun, whatever the case, you guys could buy KWeb. KWeb is kind of like the essentially ETF of the Chinese name. So if you just want some kind of position into China, very nice. See, everything Borat crazy, but you got KWeb would cover a bunch of that. So if the entire sector, the entire market, which again, it's not one individual company that's down, it's all Chinese names. So if you're looking for a bigger balance in the next couple days, years, whatever the case, KWeb would be a good way to probably get some coverage and kind of spread it out a little bit just in case one company doesn't succeed. You got MicroStrategy. Trump did sign an executive order yesterday, something about crypto. I forget what it is, but basically making a path for U.S. to take a bigger position in crypto, kind of try to lead the way. He's talked about that a couple times, and he did sign an executive order to do so. So I would expect, and we did see Bitcoin run a little bit yesterday, so that might be due to some of that factor. Otherwise, for this one, it's hanging out. I don't see anything too crazy on this one. Still inside day, probably looking for a retest. We got resistance right above us, 378.78. I got resistance 380.28. So not much room to the higher side unless you think we're going to get through that. Inside day, I'm also looking for some kind of a possible pullback, holding a little level 376.28, but I think this one's probably got to at least test 362.76 before kind of establishing any type of position on it. For me, Tesla. Yep, I think we got time for one, maybe two more. We'll see. We got Ceci. Good gap, but 417 and change. I even put a little alert there already, but 417.22, huge resistance. Day number 3 of us just hanging inside this little uh-oh candle that we've had. We have not broken down. We have some positions on this one that is or we have some risk to reward, I should say, in this one that is, as long as that candle don't break, this candle breaks, I think you do head back down to this 395 zone. But if we could hang in here, also if you throw a fib from the low of this move to the high, this is right around the 50% retracement. So if you're going to bounce somewhere, hold somewhere, I don't really want to see get to that 618 because I don't have much case for that to hold with really support lower. But that 50% retracement has to hold on Tessie. Earnings coming out next week, one of the big ones that everybody's going to be watching. So we will see. But other than that, you guys on YouTube, absolutely incredible. So make sure if you have not hit the like and subscribe button, you do so now. If you've done it already, just do it again. It's all good. That is the thing. So I got both going off. It's getting crazy. Just take a breath. Take a trade one trade at a time. You guys are good. I will catch you guys later. A lot of clapping.